Beverly is a quiet, old-fashioned town in a lovely valley, a beautiful stream running by it. A perfectly pastoral scene such as the old painters dreamed of, but never realized. General George B. McClellan, 1861. Beverly's beginnings were humble. White pioneers wanted to settle here in the mid-1700s, but many were driven out or killed by Native Americans defending their homeland. After the American Revolution, the new government promoted westward movement. Once again, settlers dared to cross the mountains. Beverly was founded in 1790 as the seat of government of the newly formed Randolph County, Virginia. The mountains isolated Beverly until completion of the Stanton-Parkersburg Turnpike in the 1840s. The turnpike became a conduit for movement of goods, people, and news of the outside world, allowing Beverly to blossom as a center for commerce and government. The turnpike also brought conflict. In the spring of 1861, America's Civil War became imminent. Citizens in this area were divided in sentiment. Most were small farmers who had little sympathy for the large plantation owners of the coastal regions. They struggled between loyalty for Virginia or the Union. General George B. McClellan, commander of the Union Army of the Ohio, wanted to protect the vital Baltimore and Ohio Railroad and secure Western Virginia for the Union. Confederates burned bridges on the railroad, sparking McClellan's invasion into Virginia. Union troops surprised the Confederates early one morning at Philippi in the first land battle of the war. Surprised and outnumbered, the Confederates fled south. Regrouping near Beverly, they sought to secure the turnpikes and fortified two key passes, one at Laurel Hill and the other at Rich Mountain. David Hart, a young Unionist, lived at the crest of Rich Mountain. Hart convinced General McClellan to allow him to lead some of the Union troops up a path to surprise the Confederates who were camped at his farm.
I was with General Rosecrans as a guide at the Battle of Rich Mountain. I led him, accompanied by Colonel Lander, through a pathless route in the woods. We pushed through the bush, laurel, and rocks, followed by the whole division in perfect silence.
The Confederate defenses collapsed. The Battle of Rich Mountain and other victories in this area secured West Virginia for the Union, along with the important Baltimore and Ohio Railroad. Beverly and nearby communities were left under Union control for much of the war.
Beverly was paralyzed, the inhabitants virtually prisoners, guards constantly stationed night and day on each of the four roads leading from town. Soldiers on the streets all day, patrols on the streets at night. Citizens not permitted to pass the guards on the roads leading from town without a written pass. Thomas Arnold.
With the return of peace, Beverly recovered as part of the new state of West Virginia, and growth gradually resumed. But Beverly's fortunes shifted with local industrialization and the arrival of the railroad. The railroad brought in goods from across the country and exported massive amounts of lumber, timber, coal, and manufactured goods from Randolph County. The population of Elkins blossomed quickly, eclipsing Beverly's. As commerce shifted to the growing railroad town, industrial leaders pushed for a new political order. Beverly's citizens, emboldened by editorials from the Randolph Enterprise, refused to surrender the courthouse.
If that county seat war in Randolph County don't end soon, the blood will flow worse than the ink they're now pouring out in wrath upon each other's heads.
After an 8-year debate, suspicions of arson, a narrowly averted riot, 3 popular votes, and a case in the state Supreme Court, Elkins finally won the county seat. Despite losing the courthouse, Beverly capitalized on the industrialization occurring around it. Immigrants from Europe, African Americans from the South, and others built the railroads and harvested the timber, propelling America's rapid industrial growth. Beverly's hotels and merchants found new business serving this workforce. However, the timber supply was short-lived. By the late 1920s, most of the virgin forest had been clear-cut. As the Great Depression hit, jobs dwindled. Once again, the town's future looked bleak. With many people unemployed, the Tigert Valley Homesteads resettlement community just south of Beverly was one New Deal opportunity to give people homes and work. Throughout the early 20th century, transportation changed. Automobiles revitalized travel on the former turnpike. Many major roads were paved in the 1920s, and people increasingly used cars instead of horses or trains for daily travel. Tourists began exploring the region for fun and relaxation. Today, Beverly finds new life. The events that hindered growth also slowed changes to the town, giving us a rich abundance of historical buildings, battlefields, artifacts, documents, and stories that offer a unique glimpse of American small-town life. The Beverly Heritage Center introduces you to many stories relating to Beverly's heritage, from the Stanton-Parkersburg Turnpike through the first campaign of the Civil War. We hope you enjoy your visit to the Beverly Heritage Center Museum. Please explore further through the Beverly Historic District, Rich Mountain Battlefield Civil War Site, and along the Stanton-Parkersburg Turnpike National Scenic Byway.